Hey everybody, John Felt here. This is a Blue Water Outlook weekly weather briefing for June 27th. I tell you right now, the story is going to be dangerous heat over large parts of the nation this week and probably next week as well. Let's get started in today's weather briefing. Well, here's our weather risk as we go through the week. Like I said, the big story is going to be the high heat, but there's also a fire danger in the southwest. And we'll have a few areas of very strong storms, ring of fire along the northern edge of that heat dome, and that'll affect the upper Midwest, perhaps parts of the Great Lakes. Now, last week, here's our rain. One of the things I want to bring to your attention are these areas right here. Here's one in Kansas, here's one in Indiana. These are these excessive rainfall areas over 5 inches, and these are these rain bombs that can produce this really extreme rain. We're in a warming environment. The atmosphere can hold more moisture, and that's why we're getting these isolated extreme rainfall events. But we did have some heavy rain in many parts of the central U.S. last week. Overall, even though there was some flooding, that might be good because it's going to be quite dry for the next couple weeks. So temperatures last week, anything in green, especially blue even, enjoyed a reprieve from summer heat, a little bit below normal, and that's going to shift very rapidly over the next week. Now, one of the byproducts of the very heavy rain is a lot of low-level moisture, saturated upper soils. That moisture is going to be coming back in the lower atmosphere with heat of the day, and that's going to contribute to a high dew point and a high heat index. So it's going to be not just hot, it's going to be uncomfortably hot with high humidity. Now, where we had the heavy rain last week, a few rivers are running on the high side, especially in red. We have a major flood going on in this tributary in Kansas. That's due to that extreme rain event. But overall, I think the big trend here, this is St. Louis here, we have some higher flows on our major rivers, central U.S. rivers, and that's sort of good because we're going to need that as we get into a dry spell, because look at St. Louis here. It goes from approximately 24 feet all the way down here to maybe under 10 feet by the end of July. So I think the trend in our main stem rivers is going to be going towards lower flows. Now, like I said, the story this week is going to be a heat dome. And what happens is that suppresses rain. It's downward motion. It compresses it and makes it hotter. Along the northern edge of that is the storm zone, and that's where we might get some rain, but it's going to be overall just plain old hot and dry. So on Tuesday, you can see where the center of the heat dome is right here, and by the 4th of July, it sort of migrates and expands, so it's going to be expanding that heat, and it's going to be over the central U.S. So it's going to be a hot 4th of July in many spots, especially the central U.S. And we take a look at the anomalies of temperature departures. Look at these dark reds. That's well above normal. But one of the trends here, as you can see, between now and mid-July is actually the models are saying it sort of migrates west and shifts into the western U.S. So the western U.S., which is having a cool week, could be quite hot by mid-month. But the story this week will be a major to extreme heat. And I tell you, major is pretty bad, but when you get this purple here, that's extreme. It's not that often, and that's where it is a risk to health. Actually, the major is too. But I think we are looking at some life-threatening health risks where we have this purple. And that's going to affect some metro areas, Chicago, St. Louis, Louisville, Nashville. So definitely a dangerous situation with the heat. Now, by midweek, look at all the records. Anything circled are hitting high temperature records, and heat index readings are going to be well over 100 degrees. So I think I've covered that. Hot weather spreading across the central U.S. from the east, and then gradually maybe into the western U.S. Now, here's the rainfall forecast. It looks pretty quiet this week. A couple areas of heavy rain, some rain over Florida that's needed in that area. This is something I'm going to be showing you here. Look at this, some rain here that is associated with some unsettled weather off the East Coast. It's some tropical signs. I'll keep you updated on that. Right now, it's a 20% chance of development, so not a high probability. Okay, so what about week 2 here? Well, almost the entire nation above normal temperatures and a pretty quiet pattern overall. So the story this week, the main story this week, is going to be dangerous heat over large parts of the nation. So be very cautious with that. And if you know someone who's not in the best shape, tell them to stay inside an air-conditioned building. Have a great week. Take care.